Hey there, we're talking mindset hacks for a strong leader. I am really excited to do this because a lot of people are looking for a marketing strategy to scale, right? How can I scale my business? What can I do? And a lot of times it's mindset, it's looking within internally. So we're going to cover a lot today. All right, let's go. Let's just jump right in. So, what do you think of when you think growing your business, right? So this is usually new marketing strategies, we need to increase our sales efforts, we need to streamline our operations. The problem is mindset doesn't come to mind, right? And when I am giving clients strategies, I'm consulting in their business, I'm giving them ideas of what could work for them. If they don't believe it, right? If they don't believe that that's possible, it's never going to happen. So I really want to make sure that as we are diving in and you understanding what it's going to take for you to scale, it really is coming back to that belief in yourself. I love this. A leadership mindset involves having certain attitudes, beliefs, and expectations that create the foundation of who you are, how you lead others, and how you interact with and influence your colleagues. This is from Dame Leadership. So, we're going to talk about 5 different aspects I want you thinking about when it comes to your mindset and your leadership. So, number one, it's helping more than it's hurting. I want you to start thinking this way. It's helping more than it's hurting. Having hard conversations, right? Not being able to just be an honest communicator with a client, with somebody on your team. It is also very necessary to put your own ego aside and to say whatever needs to be said, right? And also, you've got to be thinking, sometimes we think, but they're such a nice person. They love us. They love our business. They've been here for so long, right? We start to make these ideas that we can't say something or if or else, right? So I really want you understanding that honest communication is helping more than hurting. Now, sometimes, yes, it could hurt. It could hurt their feelings. It could hurt fill in the blank, right? A client could be really upset. But sometimes we have to make those hard decisions and move forward anyway. Next, decisiveness is key. This wishy washy decision making that I see a lot of small business owners doing is a recipe for disaster. How can you become more decisive? Are you decisive? Think about it. What was the last bigger decision you had to make? How long did it take you? How long did you sit on it? Who did you consult? Did you have to consult somebody? I have noticed this is I'm a big believer in coaches and mentors. However, I also don't want my clients waiting for me to chime in to make a decision in their business, right? Somebody was like, "Oh, you were on vacation, so I just waited until you got back to implement this." I am here to help guide and help equip, but I'm here to help you fish for yourself, right? I'm here to help you make those decisions for yourself. So don't get so attached to a friend, a peer, a mentor that you're paralyzing yourself in making a decision until you get their feedback. I was actually just talking to a client who said she really has been going back and forth quite a bit. And she said, one thing that I realized is I was waiting for somebody else to say yes or no. And I never thought, like, what does Stacy think? Right? What does Stacy suggest? So, how can you start to put that into play a little bit more? Just like you've got coaches and mentors and masterminds, are you giving yourself as much airtime as you are other people giving you opinions? Next, be willing to make mistakes. Okay. I'm always right mentality is not going to get you far, right? It's okay that you don't know everything. It's okay that you don't know how to do something you've never done before, but be willing to make mistakes. Be willing to put yourself out there and to do your best and see what happens, right? But think it through. Like, I'm not saying back up a slide. I'm not saying move so quickly that you're not actually taking time to think and educate yourself and go in with make like feeling good about that decision, right? But I also don't want you moving so slowly because you're so afraid to make mistakes that it's slowing down the growth of your business, right? If you are going, why are we not scaling faster? Why are we not growing like this other business I'm watching? And it may be that you're holding on to such a perfectionist mentality that you're just waiting a little too long. There should be some mistakes, right? If you are not a little bit embarrassed about what you did a year, 5 years, 10 years ago, you probably waited a little too long to put some things out there. Okay. Now, when you're frustrated, what is something you could have done to prevent it? Use that as learning lessons for the next time. So when I make mistakes, right, it's not great. I don't love it, but I always learn from them. I'm getting stronger. Don't make the same mistakes twice, right? You can be able to make a mistake, have that mistake happen, but try not to make that same mistake twice. Learn from it the first time. Okay, next, there's always another option. There's always another option. Really bringing out that resourcefulness in you and your team, making sure your team really believes there's always another option. When people say to me, I tried this and it's not working. We did Facebook ads, they don't work. We hired before, it was a nightmare, right? First, please know that there's always another option. It doesn't necessarily mean like pivot, switch gears. It might be try it again. Let's do it differently next time. Right. So, really pulling out that resourcefulness in you, in the team. There's always a way to figure this out. Always. Okay. As long as you keep doing, as long as you keep trying, my post-it right now is I always like to have like a post-it with a thought. My post-it is I'm getting closer every day. Right. Getting closer every day. And that's kind of the same thing with there's always another option. There's always something to try that you have not tried yet. I promise you. Or something that you've tried, but you just didn't go fully and do it fully, right? We've had people who were in our program, didn't fully get into it, dropped out of the program, right? Ended, and have come back to us to go to the same program, right? Sounds kind of weird. Sounds kind of bizarre. Why would you do that if you weren't invested last time? And it was because they knew the content was there, the strategies were there, but they did not go into it fully and they're ready now, right? What have you tried that you just didn't fully invest your time and energy into it? And what if you went back and you did it even better, even stronger, right? So if you did some sort of promotion, but you whipped it together in 24 hours and sent out an email, right? How could you go, let's do that again, but in 30 days from now? And let's actually make this be a promotion. Let's actually come up with a 3-day window for the sale. Let's send several emails and text messages and social and all the things, right? Imagine the difference in results by just like taking a step back for a moment and really planning. So there's always another option. There's always something out there you haven't tried, even if you feel like you've tried it all. Okay, next, this is the last piece. Your word is everything. So this is where it comes down to integrity, right? Really being true to what you say so that your clients, your team, everybody knows it. When you say something, they believe you, right? Why would this be a mindset hack? First of all, a couple things. If you are your word and you are actually doing the things you say and people believe you, you will feel the energy from them that they believe you're going to do it. But if you are somebody who says they're going to do something and then you don't, and then you say you're going to do something else and you don't, and you say to your friend, your team, your peers, your mom, right? You're going to get the energy of like, sure, she is. I bet you are, right? Because they know here he goes again with this crazy idea, something he's not going to do. Your word is everything. And when you are your word, people will believe you. You will gain their trust, right? You will absolutely gain their trust. And when you gain their trust, you will feel their trust and your confidence will increase, which will help your mindset. Okay. Consistency and the demonstration that you do what you say, you'll actually start to build your own trust, right? I kind of surprised myself this year when I was with my goals for January, right? We're in February, first week of February. And honestly, I'm doing pretty good on a couple big goals that I set. One was waking up at 5 a.m. every day, every single day. And yes, I've actually done it almost, I would say maybe a few days I didn't. listening to my body, thinking, okay, I do need a little bit more rest today. But for the most part, really doing it. Not watching TV. I have massively cut TV out big time. And the more that I do it and the more that I am listening, like I'm doing what I said I was going to do, the more I'm trusting myself. Like I probably couldn't cut TV out a couple years ago. I was not there yet. But knowing that I'm able to continuously outdo what I've been doing, it's getting me more confident in me, right? So when you say I want to work out every morning, or when you say I'm going to uh, show up on social media every day, and then you don't do it, your brain starts to say like, well, just because we said we wanted to do something doesn't mean we're actually going to do it. You do not want to start letting yourself believe, well, just because we said it doesn't mean we're actually going to do it. Okay. So, how do you work on your mindset? How do we add this in as a part of something we do to get better and stronger every day, right? So, first of all, surround yourself with people that have those qualities. So, those 5 things we just talked about, right? Those 5 things we just talked about, who do you know that is like that? You hang out with decisive people, you will become more decisive. You will. If you hang out with people that they are their word, and when they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it, guess what? You will start to become your word, because you will be embarrassed when you show back up and they keep doing and you aren't, right? Going to in-person conferences and events. So I said in-person on purpose here. I could have just said conferences, but now there's so many virtual events. There is something about getting yourself out of your location and getting into another room and how you feel when you leave. There is just this energy and belief of I can do anything, right? I'm so motivated. I'm so on fire. So putting these in-person conferences or events into your calendar every so often. Maybe you want to say, okay, every 6 months at a minimum. At that 6-month mark, I feel like I'm kind of starting to go down a little bit, my mindset. So I'm going to make sure I pop it back up, right? What is something you could do to really look at that and fix it? Okay. So yes, in-person conferences and events, virtual. Yes, it's great if you want the content, but if you want that motivation and feeling, go to a live event. Next, books, podcasts, YouTube videos, right? Anything to constantly. The other day I wanted to watch TV. My rule is no TV on a work night. So my goal is to go to bed early, to wake up early, right? So no TV on a work night. And I kind of was like used to that, right? I would lay in bed at the end of the night and would put TV on. So when I was starting to kind of fill that void, I would pop open a YouTube video. It still felt like I was kind of watching TV or watching something, right? Letting myself just sit. But I was making sure I was listening to something inspiring, something motivating, right? The other day I popped on Mel Robbins before bed, like much better than a reality TV show. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. Meditation, really putting meditation into your day. Self-reflection, being very aware, dropping the ego. It's okay to look at what's going on and reflect of where we need to fix some things. If you are noticing that wishy-washy indecisiveness, okay, let's spend some time there. Let's get some books on it. Let's go get some podcasts that are going to help with that. Let's get in a room where that's going to change, right? How can we do that? Now, here's what I want you to remember is there's always another level of mindset to achieve. So I had a friend, she went to this event, crazy expensive event, something I definitely want to go to at some point. And she comes home and I'm like, tell me everything. How was it? Like, what kind of strategies? Like everybody in the room, I think it's invite only, or it's definitely application only. And you have to be at a certain gross revenue. And there are some players in this room, like really, really exciting room. And I'm like, tell me, like, what did you learn? Like, give me a strategy, right? And she said, I mean, it's not really like strategies. They were there for 2 days and they said, well, give me something, right? And she said, no, it was pretty much like a mindset conference, which is crazy because these are people very high level, very successful, and she couldn't share a marketing strategy. And it's because the marketing strategy is not the thing that's going to take you to that next level when you're at a certain level. It's the mindset and your belief of there's another place for me to go, right? If you ever feel like you're at the top, you don't need to work on mindset, you are not even close to the top. That is a sign that's showing we've got some mindset work to do. Whenever we say to a client, this isn't a strategy issue, this is a mindset thing. And they say, I have zero, like there's no. No, 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 I don't have mindset problems. Like, now you've confirmed you do. Thank you. Like saying I don't have mindset problems or I don't have mindset issues or I don't need to work on my mindset is the biggest, like, yep, that's me. I need to work on mindset. There is always another level because whatever you've done, if you're grossing 250, you haven't done 500, right? If you're at 500,000, you haven't done a million. There is still some belief or possibly identity that you haven't hit yet. And it constantly gets bigger and bigger, right? All right. So last, if you haven't joined us for our free training, I'm going to jump into a Q&A just in a second here with one of our clients. So stick around. But if you haven't joined our free training yet, how to remove yourself as the bottleneck and scale faster than ever before, go to welloiledoperations.com/register. All right. So I'm super excited. I'm going to be bringing on one of our clients. I love doing some on-air coaching in these. So Mary Kate, if you're ready, let's bring you on. All right. I have to get you. There we go. Perfect. Oh, nope. I kicked you right out. Hang on. Let's remove. Let's get you here. There we go. All right. Hi,
You
Mary.
got me in and then you're like, bye-bye. We'll
Yeah.
talk later.
Okay. So Mary Kate, real quick, before you ask me questions, could you just very quickly explain what your business is so people have a little backstory on you when you're asking me, they know like, how could this relate to me?
Sure. So Trisha and I, Trisha's actually my business partner. She is in another meeting right now. So we're trying to be really good, very strategic, but
Good.
We own Remix Fitness. So we are a boutique fitness studio. We have a physical locations, brick and mortar, and then we also have a full live streaming studio where we stream from both studios and stream. We have clients all over the US and actually globally now, which is kind of crazy.
Amazing.
And then we have merchandise, a meal delivery service. So kind of everything around the accountability, everything around taking care of you. So that is what we're doing. It's only we're a little bit less than 3.5 years old, and
we're growing very quickly.
Yes. So it's been and we do move fast, which is actually why when you said, like, would someone like to come on and speak, I feel like we are both very positive people, but just this scenario, I feel like, so let me give you a little background. So we were just a single brick and mortar. Always our goal was to scale, but it was more so to open up more locations, not as much of a focus on the virtual. And we knew that at some point we'd have to incorporate some sort of component like that. Honestly, the pandemic, as crazy as it was, kind of ripped that Band-Aid off. So that has been, it's been like a blessing and curse. Like we didn't obviously never wanted to go through that, but it's been fabulous for us and really kept us open and is really just a whole other addition to our business. So where I think I struggle is we're used to moving fast. So in less than 3.5 years in a pandemic, we now, we went from 1 location to 2 locations. We now have this full live streaming. We have all these other deliveries. And as we've taken so much of your advice and systemizing things and but we still get, so like, I feel like we haven't even capitalized on the live virtual stuff and the online aspects of the business. It's more a plus, like right now it's more of a plus for our members, where they can access us from wherever, or
no one's really focusing on it.
Yes. And so basically my big fear is, if I like pull away a little bit to focus on that, I feel like we get pulled back in. And some of it, I'm like, I don't even know if we can systemize this because, if we had to close down for a week and a half just because of COVID, so it's
okay. I have some ideas already. Let's talk about this. Okay. So first of all, because you've grown, or I should say, when you grow so quickly like this, right? There's just like some stumbling blocks because you're not probably hiring as fast as you could be, or you don't have these right hands that have been around with you for 10 years. You were here just 3.5 years ago, right? So a couple things is you've got so much going on. And one of the things I always tell people is before I leave something, like first I kick it off and I'm in charge and I do all the things. But before I leave it to go do something else, I put somebody in charge of that. And that is what I call their baby. So think about this. Cara, her baby is powerhouse. Trisha's baby is power player. Christina got well-oiled operations. Everybody has their own baby, right? And I say baby because like the business is our baby, right? But And that's great. The CEO should be thinking of the business, but then other people on the team, we need to pass off responsibility for them to think about that. So even in my studios, we are literally looking for somebody to own our recreational dance department, right? So right now we have somebody who owns dance and somebody who owns music. I will tell you, dance was our first, music was a second. It never took off in the beginning. Like I took years and years and years, and just music was not taking off. And then finally we said, what if we hired a music director that was in charge of the program? She blew it up. When the pandemic hit, music in our studio grew. We grew. I don't even know how that's possible. Dance did not, because it was group and it was different, but music grew. But it was because we have somebody in charge, somebody who's owning music as their baby. So I'm thinking, if you have this program or something that isn't growing, the first question is, does somebody own it as their baby? And I don't think that's happening.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine if you brought somebody on, or you had somebody and you said, like somebody right now that's working, and you said, listen, I'd love for you to take some ownership of our virtual classes and really be in charge, and this becoming like your thing. Somebody might be like, like Mary Kate, me? You want me to like, okay. Like they might be so excited, just the fact that you're trusting them to take it and run with it. And not that they're like taking it over, but help me with ideas. Help me with this. What do they need? What are we missing? Right? Cara will literally say, I think we need to have Powerhouse get weekly emails, or I think we need Powerhouse to get, like, she feels when you feel something, right?
Right.
So you want somebody to have a focus on just that thing you want to grow, and then really get them focusing on that and scaling it. You'll see it scale for sure.
Okay. That's definitely really helpful, because I think I think it's one of those things where we're still the ones in
Yeah.
charge.
Which makes sense. Now, lucky you have a partner.
Yes.
So you have two people that get to own these things. But when you have somebody who's a solopreneur, or just one, just one business owner, they're wearing so many hats and owning so many things. And at some point, you need to start letting people come in there and share the responsibility with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now here's another one. So
Yeah.
I enjoy like so many aspects of our business. So sometimes I'm struggling with like what is proper to pass off and what
Okay.
is
Proper. That's an interesting word.
yeah.
What do you mean? Like, go a little deeper.
So my background is in finance. So
Okay.
I really enjoy the numbers. I like the back, but
Okay.
then if I'm doing most of it, it's like, is it even worth passing off some of it? Do you know what I mean? Or getting some.
Yeah.
And
What are you considering passing off?
do you mean like what aspects are we considering? Is that what you're saying?
Just anything.
Okay. So for instance, like, because I handle all of our books,
Yeah.
I end up paying like all of the bills, and
Yeah.
I do, and I'm like,
No.
is it even more right? I don't know.
We could just stop right there. Okay. So was your background anything in finance, or are you just decent at it, so you just did it?
No, so like I did merger and acquisition work and like deal
So you're a
work.
numbers person. Yeah. Okay. So it's one thing if you have a background in something and that is a high paying job and you can carry that skill set into what you're currently doing. However, you know that, and the reason you're even questioning this is because you know that there are some other jobs where maybe there would have been a bookkeeper involved or somebody who's not as high level. But what you've done is the CEO has become the bookkeeper in the business. Yeah. I know it's funny when you say it, right?
Yeah, now I'm saying that, I'm thinking this is crazy. I'm like, oh, I have to pay, like I pay all the bills. And then I'm like, oh, and we're having an issue with one of them. I'm like, I'm gonna call Comcast after this. I'm like, why am I calling Comcast?
No.
Yeah.
So, and it's when you're questioning it, or when you're on the phone and you're on hold for 15 minutes to do something, you're like, somebody else could be doing that. Like, right. So I do think as you're looking at it, really look at every portion of this finance role and say, what would I have to hire like a really great CPA or a higher level person to do? You could keep that. And then what is something that anybody could do, or I could be outsourcing, or right. So do you have a CPA?
We do, but really just for our tax. Like I handle, I mean, I think he's like, "You're the easiest
Why
client
do
ever."
I
Like,
even
I
yeah.
reach out to him, I'm like, "This is
Okay.
everything you need." He's like, "You gave me
However,
everything I needed."
okay, you have a CPA, which is great, but it doesn't
Mhm,
sound like you're utilizing some of the services they probably have that could save you money and time. So, are you running payroll and everything too?
mhm.
Yeah. So you may want to look at what are the rates? What are the costs? I mean, at one point when I looked at payroll and how much it was going to cost to take off my plate, I was like, that's all I would have to pay. Like I would have paid double to get payroll off my plate, right? So get some quotes and see
Okay,
what they could be doing and then say to yourself, well, I know how much time I spend paying bills. Would I spend that much to have them just do it?
okay.
Yeah. And like they do say be very careful letting somebody else sign checks and things like that.
Mhm.
But you absolutely could have somebody write out the check. Like I do this specifically in one of our areas is they will write out the check, they will have everything ready to go, but it's not signed. And they just paperclip the check with the bill with it and it's waiting for my signature. So
Okay,
I'm the one sticking it in, sealing it, right? So you could still do something like that, giving responsibility, but still keeping something as like your checkbook very you want to be very careful because lots of embezzlement and things like that I've seen with clients for sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Alright, and then so that's actually really helpful because I
Okay.
think I do we need to go through those tests and figure
Okay.
out there's just things I know I'm saying it out loud and I probably know the answer
I
to.
know. It's okay.
Okay, so how about because you've said this before, like you do enjoy working. Like I think
Yeah.
we're similar in that aspect. Like it's,
Mhm.
even if you had the opportunity to never work again, you'd probably still want to do
Oh,
something.
totally. Yeah. I would start the
So
next business the next day.
yes.
Yeah.
So I do have a little bit like a fear of um again, I think it's not even the passing off, but it's just like what is the like I sometimes think I struggle with like I don't want to be a microman. Like I feel like I want to give people like the
Mm,
opportunity to run with things, but how much you stay like I don't know. Like I feel like you and Sarah just get she's like, oh, she comes to you and she's like
yeah.
this and this. And she if she needs to push back, she does, but she's
Yeah.
also like appreciates, what you bring. So,
Yeah.
thoughts on that.
I feel like I'm not sure I heard the actual
The question.
question.
Okay, so I think it's sort of like do you at this point choose what you
Mhm.
want to work on?
Perfect. Great question. Okay. I think at every stage, every next level of the business, the CEO has to decide what is the best use of my time now.
Okay.
And what happens is when people get stuck in ruts or they stop scaling and they plateau, it's usually because the CEO is being the CEO from last year or 2 years ago, and they miss the time to up level. They miss the time that they had to say, "You know what? I've been doing this thing on Mondays at 2, but that cannot be on my calendar anymore. Like I have to remove that so I can focus over here." Right? So with you, it's like same thing. You can't be paying the bills and you can't be doing some of the stuff that you don't need to be doing that you can get somebody else to do for cheaper because you've got to figure out what are your top, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 activities a week you do. Where's
Okay.
the best use of your time? Do
Right.
you
And I
have those
think
written down at all?
I'm sorry, so
Like,
can you say that again?
do you know what like your top 3, 4, 5 things are every week that you should be doing?
Yes. So, and I think a lot of them are, I don't know. I feel like I almost top heavy my whole week with like
Mhm.
just stuff that maybe I don't necessarily have to be
Yeah.
doing. And then I end up pushing like when I'm thinking about like, okay, how are we going to scale the business? How are we going to grow the business? Like, what are we going to do? And that gets like kind of pushed to the wayside a little bit. And I
Which
also
is
get
yeah,
it.
which is an issue when, right, you're constantly thinking that.
Yeah. I'm also guilty of, and I know that you did this before, but I also I think we're big on like the personal touch and
Yeah.
that like interaction with our clients.
Yeah.
But then I end up getting a lot of one-on-ones and
Right. Which couple things. You can still have personal interaction with your clients
mhm,
without it being one-on-one and private,
right. Okay.
right? I mean, even right
Yes.
now, look at
Yeah.
this. You and me, private, like I shouldn't say private conversation. We're very public right now. However, one-on-one, I'm getting to know you more. I'm getting to know your problems more. But other people are benefiting from it still,
Right.
right? So how can we start to think, how could I help this situation, but not where it's just she's the only one that benefits? So because you're in our programs, you know this, we have this broadcast chat, right, in our masterminds.
Mhm.
So look at that. I am giving you guys like this morning, I think I went in there twice and shared something, right? And I say it, but there's a lot of you in there listening.
Mhm.
And people love when I'm doing that, right? So how can you continue to almost like that scalability of your personal touch without it feeling less intimate, right?
Mhm.
It's just it's a fine line, and it's the next level. In the beginning, one-on-one was what you did. But
Mhm.
as you grow, it's time to make those changes, or it's time for you just to not be the one-on-one, but for you to get the one-on-one with somebody on your team. So maybe I'm not one-on-one doing something with you, but Cara has done something one-on-one with you and you have felt the personal touch, or Sarah has mailed you something and you felt it, but it wasn't from me.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give you an activity to do.
Okay.
I want you to look, it's Friday. So I want you to look at this entire week's calendar when we're
Mhm.
done or whenever. And I want you to almost go like, I don't know if you can screenshot it, print it or something, but I want you to like highlight what you believe the CEO or one half, I don't know if what role you have in
Right.
your business with partner, but what do you feel great about that you did this week that you should keep on your plate? Go circle those.
Okay.
I wonder if you have less circles than what's on your calendar. Like if
My
you
calendar
circled
is
and X'd,
yeah, this is a
I
great
bet,
activity.
yeah, I bet you're gonna go, I'm doing 20% of what I should be doing 80% of the time.
Right. Okay.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
not that you're not gonna do those things. It's just we're gonna really shift the focus to being lots of circles and just a little few X's that you still wanna hold on to or you need to hold on to temporarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how often
Okay.
do you do this? Because, you're
Mm.
growing fast. Like, I feel like the
Yeah.
dance studio probably was like, like pretty consistent, but like took a little
Yeah.
longer, your online business. So how often do you go back and like analyze, okay, this is what I need to get off my plate,
Yeah.
or this is not making sense?
So about every 90 days, I am doing a time audit. You're
Okay.
going to get access to that next week. So when you see this spreadsheet, you're going to go, okay, I'm really auditing my time about 90 days. Now, if I'm not at the 90-day mark and I haven't been reminded to do it, but I am feeling frustrated and my calendar is feeling just like, what is going on? I might be like, nope, we're doing it right now. Something is not happening. Something is not right. And a lot of times it's just, what used to serve me isn't serving me, and that's being built up as a frustration. And I have to just look at it and go, what, okay, I like podcasts, but I haven't been liking those podcasts. Why? Well, maybe I've outgrown the level of podcasts I've been on. Maybe what was okay before is no longer okay. So before I would say yes to any podcast because I wanted the experience.
Right.
Now I've been on hundreds of podcasts. I typically don't even let my team book me on a podcast that doesn't have 50 reviews or more. Because to me, if you're a serious podcaster and you've been around a little while, you're going to have 50 reviews. So I'm looking for the serious podcaster that's going to be here for a little while, right? So at some point, 50, we've outgrown it. Now it's like,
Right.
okay, we need it to be around even longer, or has this many podcasts, right? So at some point, like something feels off. And that's when I go revisit my calendar. Make
Okay.
sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Was this helpful?
Yes, super helpful. Thank
Okay.
you. I really
Okay.
appreciate it.
I'm so happy you came on. Thank you so, so much. Where can people go find out your virtual remix if they're not
Yes.
local to you?
So we are remix-fitness.com. You can get a free week and try a bunch of our classes on Instagram. We're remix_fit, and on Facebook we're Remix Fitness. But we would love for all of you to try. You can access us from anywhere in the world, and there's literally classes all day long. Tons of different options, everything from boxing, bar, Pilates, spin, yoga, you name it, we have it. So we'd love to
Love
find
it.
you. I love you.
All
Yes.
right. Thank you,
Thank
Mary
you.
Kay. I appreciate you being here. All right. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I love bringing real people on because when I say something, it's like, oh, sure, right? But when you hear somebody else in their business, right? And you see the way, and you see also how she knew a lot of those answers. But sometimes you have to say it out loud to go, why am I doing that? Right. And have that accountability. So, so appreciative of Mary Kate for coming on and sharing from Remix Fitness. If you jumped on late and you missed the beginning of this episode, make sure to go back and check it out. We were talking mindset hacks. So stay tuned. More amazing episodes coming your way. Bye, everyone.